Okay. Um, you know, this is annoying, but at the same time, I gotta make sure that I record at least, you know, a few videos before I get. The reason why I make videos and you're gonna hear this introduction every day is because I see how my brain is going. I'm no longer myself. I'm my logic is becoming more and more on the retarded side. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but literally like retardation, meaning that mental retardation is being somehow like it's just I'm not functioning like my brain is not functioning in a logical way. In somebody who is perhaps mentally behind because of how they're forcing me to think. I'm looking at the people involved. It's funny how they try to make it believe this is like competing, right? This is not competing. This is it's sad. It's so sad, but it's just like it's like how can you even like it's just sad. You really truly for anybody who's involved in this and see this as some kind of competition, they're just childlike individuals because there's no competing. I'm just going to experience this version of thinking because this technology does that, and I'm a subject to this human experimentation. I've talked about this, but why not talk about it again? These people are so desperate to create patterns of certain things because what's happening is these people have been known to be doing the pedophile type of torture. They've been known to be forcing people to experience these nasty things. It's what they do. I'm not the first. You've heard, for the last few videos, you hear the same videos I bring up that shows that when they were like surveying people with who are target individuals with V2K, they all talk about some kind of child porn implanted in their head. They're all talking about some kind of sexual stimulations. They all talk about dream manipulation of the pedophilia ways. Some women are saying that they've aimed this program of perversion toward children. And so you hear this noise campaign. This is orchestrated for me to be interrupted when I speak about this, because reality is they obviously do this perfect type of torture. And your whole ecosystem, just like you heard this loud music that comes when I'm talking about it, it wasn't there before. It's because they're trying to distract me from saying the things that they obviously want me to try to push away reality. Because it doesn't take a genius to understand, okay, well, why is everybody in this program who are targeted keep saying that they do this pedophile type of torture? Then you see who's talking to you to try to make you accept this. Is there some foul trash like bottom feeder? And the more bottom feeder they are, the more the things they say is like you're just so much of a fucking bottom feeder. Sorry for the language. And they like to say, oh, you're gonna lose because my brain is gonna go however it goes. Like I said, my brain is mentally behind. It has gone to a retardation stage. And these childlike individuals who are on the spectrum of a different level tell me that my brain will not be able to think logical, which I know. That's why I don't align myself with my brain, because they've manipulated my brain to thinking this illogical to make me subscribe to these things. Because what's happening to me is I'm getting these disgusting stimulations and they aim it toward children. I'm not the first and I won't be the last. I've been saying that since day one, and I'm going to continuously saying that. Now they use these kids, not even kids, I don't know what they are, but these individuals who are losers for the only reason that they have to play this game and try to make themselves be something else. I've seen some of these people. It's very pathetic. Very pathetic. You see them, you're like, oh my gosh, you're truly a winner. Now, don't get it twisted. There are a bunch of people who are doing well for themselves, of course, and they're part of the targeting, but they make themselves very pathetic for this moment. It's just beyond obvious they do the pedophile type of torture. It's so humiliating. I see some women that turn red because I'm listening to the testimony as she's trying to make me subscribe to these things. Right? And you hear this trash try to disorient me using the scripts. And so, because they try to create a pattern, for some reason they're going to think, oh, somehow this thing just happened to you on August 19, 2019 because we matched you. We matched you to you when you were a kid. Right? It's almost that, and they use this tonality of like, it's you, we match, it's you. Yeah, it's you. What we're doing to you is just you as a kid. And they try to sound sensible, mysticful, assessing, analytical, when in reality, like, you just, yeah, really? Also, you're making me think like a child would. Because you're talking this tonality, you think I should be like, oh my gosh, that makes a lot more sense. You who do the pedophile type of torture, you who are renowned to forcing people to look at kids in these disturbing pedophilia ways, what you're doing to me is to make me think like a kid. You. Who then I happen to have a bunch of pedophiles, but in these agencies that actually contract this trash. They're the people in charge. Oh, no, it's never going to be me. It's just, I'll never be me again. That's what you're trying to say. You're just a nasty bottom feeder. And you sad, pathetic pedos will get yours. It's okay. For now, it's your time. You enjoy your time, your gods, your whatever you want. You just you look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that's. But they try to create some. So I talked about it before. Because the only thing that they can really bring up is what I did as a child to myself. That's some stupid thing I did to myself. And it's something a kid at that age can do. And knowing that this is what a kid did, and the kid did it once in 8th grade to himself, what can we bring up? What can we come up with? What can we manipulate? And so one thing I talked about is when I was like even younger. And I remember living in this host family, and I talked about they had like a little girl, I forgot her, she was like 3 years old or something like that. And I remember I was on the computer, and she came by the computer, and she was just bothering me, and I looked at her and said, oh, and I kissed her on the cheek, and I on the cheek. They tried to make that change into like the lips. That's how nasty it is, right? That's the, but then what they tried to do initially is try to make me get like sexual stimulation, that memory. Instead of what true, like, when you say like a chubby, like a adorable, like that. But they made me feel a sexual stimulation, which is falsified. Is what they're making me feel today. It's falsified. And it's so nasty. And so they give me this overpowered sexual stimulation of when I was a kid. It's not true, but it's what they're making me experience. It's so nasty. And so nasty. But mind you, this me just turning 13 years old. So very much a kid. And this happened actually a second time when I saw, it's so nasty. Oh, so nasty. You know what they're doing? I'm not even going to talk about it. It's so nasty. And then there's a second time when the father was behind me and we're about to go to church. And I look at her, it's like, oh, you're so adorable. I kiss her on the cheek. On the cheek. The father is like behind me. He's like, oh, Sarah, you're so cute. You're so cute. You're good to eat or something like that. She was very adorable little girl. But now they give me stimulations, and the stimulation comes from this other place, which is so nasty. You see how they flip things around? Oh my gosh. When I was 9 years old, 9 or 10, I played mom and dad. So nasty, so nasty. I played mom and dad with a girl about my age, 8 or so, right? And we play mom and dad, and kids at that age, we have like weird feelings, right? We have weird sensations. And I'm humping, oh, it's so disgusting, so disgusting. Woo, so disgusting. It's just so nasty, they play. And I play mom and dad with I play mom and dad, me, the little boy, playing mom and dad with this girl about my age. You see how they try to play? And we have those like sexual stimulations that kids have at that age, 3rd grade or so. They're bringing that moment, implanting that moment when I'm 13 years old and it's this chubby little girl, just so nasty. And they gave me that intense feeling and moved it there. That's what they're doing right now. But they do something like that. They always try to create that moment into something stimulating sexually, is what they do. And they try to make me think that that was my memory. Now, mind you, this is me when I'm 13 years old. I'm in my late 30s. Over 20 years ago. You gotta understand, your memories can be manipulated so easily by them. They can change the way you perceive and react to things in different ways. And for a second there, they truly make me feel this way. Because as a kid, younger, especially preteen, you get this weird sensation. Do you remember when you like hump on things? Can you imagine play with this kind of things and put that in moving around that? It's so nasty. And they can do whatever they want. I know what they did 2 seconds ago. They made me feel like it was really that's what I felt. When in reality, I know. It's the difference. It's like, oh, you know, like that feeling. But turn into something else. So disgusting. So disgusting. Oh, so disgusting. And the changing and the moving into the to the private area. And this is me when I'm 13 years old. So how can you even, like, it's so disgusting to have that experience. To change a feeling into something else. You know when you have like overwhelming, like when something is overwhelming, adorable? And you know that feeling? But this is moving to the private area. And it's me when I'm a child. The reason why they try to do this is because what's happening to them they try to make me subscribe to these things. Now, these people have been humiliated. Because this is what they have to manipulate for me to accept something that I'm not going to accept as a 30-some-year-old man. Do you not understand how humiliating these people are? They will try to... And because what I actually did is to myself as a kid is when I just discovered myself and I was doing things to myself all the time. It happened once and that was that. Now they try to change it into something else. It's so nasty. It's so disturbing. And they try to say, oh, we're matching into this. It's so sad. And it's because in this BuzzFeed article, there was this CIA agent who was caught doing things to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. This agent, the CIA agent, that got fired after, but nothing else by being fired, didn't even get arrested or anything. This CIA agent, did something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old twice, and they want to counter that word, and they like to counter reality, because this CIA agent did this thing twice to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, or I think he did it twice to only the 6-year-old or something like that. To counter that, because I'm going to listen to this testimony over, they're going to try to say, but remember when you felt that feeling or something like that? Oh. It's a feeling they try to manipulate into me and change it. When I was 13 years old, then there was this kid, and they tried to change this feeling in the growing area instead of like, just like, you know, when it's like adorable, like cute, like kissing on the cheeks. Even that, they try to make me imagine kissing on their lips, which is what they just started. And so that's nasty. And they try to make me feel, oh, they're going to rape you. Because I know what they do to children. Because I know that they do the pedophile type of torture. Because I know that they hurt babies. Because I know that the entities that contract this low life are filled with pedophiles. And what they're trying to do is to try to make me feel scared and subscriptive to a falsified memory where they manipulate this stimulation and implant that stimulation into memory where something was very wholesome, cute, adorable, you know, like you just, and change it into something sexual. It's so nasty. It's so I hate the way they can play with these memories. And it's funny how, like, and it's because they try to come with different stories. Like, oh, remember when the so disgusting. And they play with this, and it's me, 13 years old. And so I remember when this little girl came and her nanny, the housekeeper wasn't there. And she was like kind of annoying me, but she was super adorable. I was like, oh, it's like, you're so cute. I just kissed her cheeks, like it was just like she was too cute, right? And there was that feeling. But now, can you imagine moving that to something sexual? And now it's me, a 13-year-old boy, and try to change that into sexual things. But that's what they do. They're gonna do it like this. I have nothing. There's nothing I can do. They can change it however they want it. It's gonna feel like it's real however they want it. I have understood this. And initially, oh, it's so nasty. When they started trying to make me accept these things, they were making me think of that moment and giving me that stimulation. Now, I didn't know that they could have the ability to change memory to that extent. And mind you, it's me when I just turned 13 years old. And it's like, oh, this feeling they make me feel feels familiar. It's like, what do you feel? It's like, oh, it feel. And they try to make me think of that moment. It's like, oh, you see, remember you felt. It's like, oh, okay, oh. And I don't know the changing memories. I'm like, okay, the time they start messing with me, then I realized something has changed. Really, is when they tried to do that when I was a young adult. That's when I was like, oh, you mother, these people play with my memories. Because now you can't, like, when you start touching my adulthood memories, at least at the time now everything's fading away. When you start manipulating my adult memories, that's different. It's like, I recognize you guys are doing something. At that point, I realized that they were playing my memories. That was before finding out what they do to memories. And so it's so nasty that they would change things like that to try to make me subscribe to it. And they were like, oh yeah, you felt this feeling twice. I was like, no. You make me feel this feeling in my memories. It's like, oh yeah, who, what? And then I remember they were playing with me. It's like, yeah, you felt like that. And oh gosh. And of course I realized later on, shortly later on, it's like, they're playing my memories. This is not how I felt. It feels like that's how I felt, but that's what they do. And what triggered me to realize that this thing is BS is when they were starting try to do that with memories, like with me when I was a young adult. I was like, what? No, I didn't feel like this. Oh, so that means those old memories, like they're trying to play with, they're playing with this. And of course now I know. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You can make me feel anyways. It's like I knew something was off. I was just... And that's so nasty because they play with memories of your childhood. As a child. I'm not like... And mind you, I'm like, what? 13, like... It's so nasty. So now, of course, I know it's falsified. I know it's a falsified memory. They were just trying to create things, to create patterns. Whatever they could. They would try to change feelings and sensation into something else. Sexual stimulations. Going to my private, it's just so nasty. So nasty. So nasty. And that's the thing they do now. And they can play. Tomorrow they can make it feel however they want. So I'm gonna make this video something that I'm gonna probably watch again, because they're gonna of course do this again. And the reason why they do this target video for me is because they force me to experience these disgusting things for children. It's non-stop. They make me look at children and have some stimulations that are so nasty, and they say those stimulations, you felt this when you were like 13 years old, 14, 9 years old, 10 years old. And you're like, what are you talking about? And then of course like, oh, they do the pedophilia type of torture. That's why they force you to experience these things. It doesn't even make sense. Can you imagine you're in your midlife and they talk about you as a early teenage, preteen, as young as 9 years old. And you're like, what? I'm not a child. What do you mean? You're making me think like a child? That's what you're trying to say? Of course they try to break you down. It makes no sense. These people are filled with pedos, do the pedophilia type of torture, force people to get stimulation. They can manipulate memories. They can manipulate the way you think about people, about perception. They can do all these things. No. When they try to be like, oh, we match it to you, as like, I'm like, I'm listening to the. Can you imagine? To try to counter the fact that this CIA agent did something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. The 6-year-old, he did it twice. They're trying to say, oh, you felt that stimulation twice. When you were a kid, when you're 13, and then what you did as a kid when you're in 8th grade. To counter the CIA agent who did something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old twice. And so for me, this is the mental battles they try to create. Manipulating my memory in my childhood, then try to compare what I did as a child in 8th grade, 2 years, to myself as a kid, to a CIA agent doing something to a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old twice. To counter reality. And they don't think I'm going to subscribe to these things. And it's funny how they try to create this back and forth. It's because there's this, I was remembered, the employer who put me in this program has very, very, very strong connection to intelligence community entities, or to entities in power, governmental wise. And I remember there was this person, this lunch and learn guy who came, who was writing a book, and he was talking about like foreign affairs or whatever. He used to be in the CIA as some kind of high level CIA agent or something, and he came and started speaking, right? Just for lunch and learn, right? And you gotta understand that that's just like a little glimpse of like the kind of connected people they were. Now, as I'm thinking about it, they try to disrupt that, to stop me from thinking about that, and make me think of they said the name of this family. The family name is Clark. I'm not even, but there's too many, and they just randomly say Clark, right? And you're just like, oh, I see, that's proof we know the name. It's like, what? Of course I know they know the name. Matter of fact, I remember when they were messing with me before, when I was in that older place, in 2021-ish, 2020, 2021, and I was looking up if I could see them, because they were trying to mess with me with them. So I'm like, let me find out about them and see, where they are, because, they're like doctors and whatever. And I was looking up for Clark family around this area, right? And so they said this name, and it's like, oh wow, even I knew the name, like, just I was searching for it in 2021. So obviously they know that. So, but they were trying to be like, you see, that's proof. It's like, oh. In my head, it's just going back into the memories, try to create a battle, giving me the feelings that they make me have, and then removing that feeling and giving me a different feeling of like that, closer to reality, closer to the truth. And it's like, no, it's so sad. And it's me when I'm 13 years old. Do you understand how sad and pathetic it is? At this point, I made it clear that I know that they do these manipulations and force memories to be false. They can manipulate memories. I made it clear, I know that. Matter of fact, memory manipulation is something they've been doing for a long time. They talk about that in the 60s. There was this story of this man, apparently, that ended up raping a 3-year-old kid, because they created this false memory in his mind and thought that 3-year-old kid was somebody who did something to him. He thought that kid was an adult who did something. That was in the 60s. Now you gotta understand, this trash do these things. This is old stuff, but memory manipulation is truly disturbing. They add feelings and sensation. But for me, it's when I'm like super young, 13 years old or so, barely hitting puberty, barely hitting teenagehood, and playing around with my memories. It's so nasty. So in this testimonial, I just want to continue to talk about things, and maybe I will stop speaking again the same thing and listen to those old recording. But why I always make videos is because there'll be a time I won't be able to speak. I want them to listen to themselves, trying to counter reality. Manipulate the memory of a 13-year-old kid to stop me from listening to what these Asians do to kids, to these CIA agents. The reality, the man they live, is so disgusting. And in my mind, they're like, oh, you see, they consider what? You mean the people in the program that manipulate people's brain into these perfect ways of thinking, or the people in the program that's involved in the program that torture children? It's pathetic.